Good morning, good afternoon, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
It is 1 o'clock. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Fort Myers Beach Local Planning Agency. Merry Christmas to everyone here and in the listening audience. And if you would stand for our invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So our invocation today just is Happy Hanukkah to those of you who celebrate Hanukkah. Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate Christmas. And may we all have a joyous and happy New Year.
Amen.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is an approval of the final agenda. Does anybody have anything to add, subtract, or comments, or may I have a motion for its approval? Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Thank you, Don. Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any objection to the motion? So it carries unanimously. And the next item is an approval of the minutes for the local planning agency, November 11th, 2025. Any changes or comments? And if not, may I have a motion?
So moved, Sutter.
Support.
Thank you very much, Don and Jim. Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. Next item is public comment. And there's a bunch of people here, but I suspect most of you are here for a public hearing, in which case you should wait to speak in that. But if anybody's here to speak about anything other than a public hearing, please come up. And seeing none, we'll close the public comment and we'll move on to the next item, which is our first public hearing. It is a variance request, VAR 20250. Can I read the title and then you can say your story, Nancy?
Go ahead.
This is a variance 202-50287 for 138 Hibiscus Drive. It's a resolution of the Fort Myers Beach Local Planning Agency approving with conditions, or denying variance 202-50287, requesting one, a variance of 1.6 feet to the required 20-foot rear setback in LDC, that's Land Development Code, Section 34638D1G. To allow a 4.6-foot encroachment for elevated mechanical equipment, and two, a variance of 3.3 to the required 20-foot rear setback for properties in the RS zoning district in Table 34-3 to allow a staircase with a 16.7-foot rear deck setback in order to access the elevated mechanical equipment for the property located at 138 Hibiscus Drive, generally referred to as strap number 294624 W2 01431.0000 in Fort Myers Beach, and providing further clarifications as necessary, providing for conflicts of law, Scrivener's errors, severability, and providing for an effective date. Nancy?
1 second, Len. Do we need to excuse Doug as per the bylaws? To make sure
Did he
Yeah,
request?
Madam Chair, I just wanted to note for the record that Mr. Ekman has requested an excused absence.
Wonderful.
I'll
Jim?
move approval of that.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jane. So there's a motion and a second to approve an excused absence for Mr. Ekman. Any objection to that? Hearing none, that passes unanimously. Okay,
There we go.
Nancy. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, and thank you for reading the title to the variance.
You're welcome, Nancy.
In addition to this variance, we have, for some reason, I'm thinking I'm going to get coal for Christmas. I don't know. But anyway, in addition to the variance, we have a rezoning on today's agenda, as well as a special exception. These three types of land use matters, they are quasi-judicial in nature. And this requires that our public hearing comply with some procedural requirements that have been established in Florida law and in our Land Development Code. So these quasi-judicial proceedings, they are less formal than a proceeding before circuit court, but they will be more formal than the remainder of the meeting. And we must follow some basic standards of due process that requires certain notices, the application of the correct standards, and the decisions to be made on competent and substantial evidence that has been presented to the LPA in written documents or in oral testimony. So the LPA today will be evaluating this testimony and the information for each item. They will then draw a conclusion regarding whether the criteria in the Land Development Code or in state law has been satisfied. So pure speculation or opinion that is not based on competent facts cannot legally be considered by the LPA in determining whether an agenda item has satisfies the LDC requirements. So testimony by professionals who have been qualified as experts in a particular area has been considered competent evidence by Florida courts, as well as testimony by neighbors and residents who have fact-based information, such as minutes, surveys, engineering reports, or testimony that is based on their personal knowledge and belief. So members of the public that are present, if you intend to speak, please keep my comments in mind. When you come forward, please state your name clearly for the record and whether or not you have been sworn in. Also, we do have a variance on today's agenda, and an unanimous decision by eligible voting members of the LPA to approve a variance shall constitute final agency action, subject to request by anyone for an additional hearing of the matter before the town council, if that request for the additional hearing is received by the town clerk within 10 days. Thank you. And for purposes of efficiency, I'm going to go ahead and ask our deputy town clerk today whether the 3 agenda items have been properly noticed pursuant to our land development code and Florida law.
Yes, they have.
Thank you. And also at this time, if there's any LPA member who has a conflict of interest that would prohibit them from voting on any of these items, would you please disclose that at this time for the record?
John, anything?
No conflicts.
How about you, Jim?
No conflicts.
Jane? None. Jim?
None.
Don?
No conflicts.
I have none as well.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
I would ask our clerk if at this time, first of all, if there's anybody present that would intend to provide oral testimony, if you would please stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn in by our clerk.
Please raise
So
your right hand.
anybody who is going to speak today, you need to be sworn in. That's you all too. Anybody who wants to speak. Okay.
Perfect. All right. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, you have read the title for the first item, which is a variance. It would now be appropriate to request any ex parte disclosures.
Thank you. John?
None.
Jim?
No ex parte.
Jane?
Yes, I met the owner when I was going for the site visit and walked around the property with him.
Great. How about
None.
you, Jim?
None.
Don?
No ex parte.
I have none as well. Okay, Jason.
Good afternoon. My
Good
name is Jason
afternoon.
Smalling. I'm with your Planning and Zoning Departments. As was mentioned by Anita, before you today is a request for 2 separate variances. The first variance, both variances deal with a set of stairs, a AC platform, and the AC mechanical unit itself on the rear of this property. They are requesting 2 separate variances, one for the mechanical equipment and the pad, and one for the set of stairs. The first one for the pad and the mechanicals, they are needing to request a 4.6 foot encroachment there. In general, they're allowed to encroach in the rear of a new home an additional 3 feet with these cantilevered pads and the AC units. During the as-built survey review, we found that it encroached further than the 3 feet that was allowed. So that is the reasoning for bringing that first variance before you. The second variance is for a set of stairs. The rear setback is 20 feet. There's not an allowance on new homes for additional protrusion of the stairs in the rear or otherwise. And so they are coming in to request the difference between the 20 foot that they're required and the 16.7 feet that was presented in the as-built survey. The applicant is here, and during our meetings recently, she did note that she was requested by FPNL to install the stairs and the platform for elevated meters. Staff can't independently confirm that, but that's what we were told, and it's in line with generally what we hear on a lot of new elevated home builds. Staff is here for any questions or concerns that you may have. We believe that this is an approvable with the conditions listed. and that it's a relatively de minimis ask. The applicant is also here.
Thank you very much, Jason. Questions for Jason? Jane?
Well, my only thing is, do you think that you will be able to pick this out in the future when people are planning on putting their meter outside upstairs, that we need to make sure that that distance doesn't become a problem? And
I think
repetitions.
that's an excellent point, and I think as we go through the LDC updates, we may wish to look back at the sections that allow for these carve-outs by right, and perhaps take a look at what the general builds and what FP&L may be requiring that maybe wasn't applicable previously.
right, I was quite surprised by the amount of mechanical that's up there to have the utilities outside, and then you couldn't, if it would have been shorter, you wouldn't have been able to get around the air conditioner or do any maintenance on any of the electrical. So, I mean, I can understand the ask, but I think somehow we have to make sure that we don't see repetition on this.
I agree. I think that can be dealt with through an LDC change.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else have questions? John? Jim?
Jason, is this an FPL rule change? Because I drive around, ride my bike around, I see some meters at 3 feet off the ground and some of them at 6 feet. So
Yeah,
is
so
this a new
FP&L
change?
I don't know that we have anything that's changed that we can point to. I think this is probably something that's always been on the books, that they wanted these things elevated. But FP&L doesn't coordinate with us if they're talking to the homeowner or to their builder. And this is where I think that disconnect, unfortunately, causes people concern and pain here. Again, the applicant has claimed that during the build, her contractor was told FP&L requires this. And so it was added on the fly as a field change, and that wasn't discovered until after the fact.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Anything, John?
I have some commentary afterwards because I've actually dealt with this issue.
Okay. Jim, anything?
Nothing.
Don?
No.
Thank you very much, Jason. The property owner, would you like to speak and talk about this? Well, you've got Albert with you.
Well, it
you
just changed.
You brought.
It just changed.
Well, that works. Pays to have good neighbors.
Wow, your best work, Albert.
Merry Christmas, Albert.
Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next one.
You could have done better pictures than these. It does not show
This
how
is
big
how-
it is.
This is how it really looks versus this drawing.
It is. It's a lot of equipment.
Forgot about the green light. Albert Danvers, Studio AD for the record, helping Crystal, our neighbors, and also I was the architect for the project, so I kind of know the questions that are coming up that sneak into our world during construction to explain how we got to where we are. In an effort to be resilient, you have a choice. Your FPL meter can be a normal height, which is like 5'6" at the center line of the meter, or if you want to, you can elevate it. During construction, it was a choice to elevate it to make it more resilient. There was a platform in the back for the cantilever, the air conditioning condenser. Anyway, they have 2 systems for their house. It's a 3-story house, 2 over flood. And FPL has a handbook requirement that says if you're going to put a meter more than a certain height, you have to have a certain platform, you have to have a set of stairs, you have to have a railing. Otherwise, they won't put the meter on there and or service it. So homeowners have that choice to do that. So this is when a good question that came up during construction and in future plans. A lot of times in plans, we'll say the meter is going to go here. And sometimes that's correct. And sometimes that deviates between the contractor and the owners and the FPL, and it's being located differently. So the reason why the platform is bigger than allowed is because of the fact of the air conditioning systems there, the clearance, the meter, so it had to be a little bit bigger. The stairs are there because FPL will not want to use a ladder to access it. You have to have a permanent set of stairs with a railing. So kind of in hindsight, kind of would worked out to work to access their deck, but that's the reason why the variance is here. So it's a minimum that they need in order to keep the FPL meter where it is. It is a hardship if they actually have to relocate that meter back to the ground floor, have to rework all the disconnects, rework all the conduits and all that stuff for this process. As a direct neighbor, I know you see some letters of support from neighbors around, especially I think one of the back neighbors as well too. You don't even notice this thing, whether it's 4 more inches, 6 more inches, it's not harmful at all.
Albert, touching on what Jane said earlier, do you see this as a recurring issue we're going to be dealing with?
I think yes, because when people start realizing there's an option to do this and then they hear about this during construction, I think the seasoned builders that do this know if they do this with commercial, that you have to follow the FPL handbook. If you don't, you might get away with the FPL guy saying no problem, but most of them are pretty much like, we run this to the commercial, honestly. If the meter and disconnects and wireways and raceways are not at the proper exact height down to the 1/4 inch, FPL will sit there and go, that's nice. It's off 1/4 inch. We'll come back. Let me know when you fix it. So FPL is pretty much by the book. I think obviously right now the choice has been that if you put your meter up higher, stormwater comes in, your meter is not even affected by it. Your wireway is not even affected by it. You're more resilient. You can reopen either a business or a house. If it's down below and you have a storm surge over 5.5 feet and that meter's underwater, that meter's going to be popped out. All the wires have to be cleaned. So it's just one layer to be more resilient.
Okay.
A note for you is that we're not having any more of those storms, so.
Yeah.
Can I write that down?
Write it down. Jim, John, any questions?
No questions, no.
Anything else you'd like to tell us?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Did you guys have any questions? Okay.
No.
All right. We'll open the public comment. Anybody have public comment on this case for 138 Hibiscus? I just have to say, I really like the color of your house. It's a really nice color. Okay. Public comment is closed. Any further discussion or questions for staff or the applicant?
Well, I would like to say that when I was there and underneath it, you could see that,
Just
okay, you could see that the plan was to be here, and because there is definition in the underneath of how the design was, and then you could see how they had to come out. So, I mean, I do think the intent was there to do it right by what they had gotten permits for, and then FPL kind of threw them out the window. So I do feel that it wasn't an intentional error.
I like this house.
Yeah, the comment I was going to make is the house that I'm currently living in was built, we took possession of it in January of 22, and the meter's way up high. And at that point, they were allowing strictly an access ladder to be able to get to the meter. And my meter didn't get wet, even though we had like everybody, they still took the meter. They took every meter on this island. So regardless of whether or not it got wet. Building the new house, we also had the option to elevate the meter, but it did come with a requirement for a bigger platform. We had a platform on the other side of the house for our AC and our eventual generator. However, it would have had to become much larger and actually require a variance if I were to relocate my meter to the other side of the house. So this is all FPL driven, and it's all about the meter.
So, and that variance would have cost you several $1,000s at a minimum. So, that is something to think about when we go into the LDC, because if it can all be consolidated into one location to
Exactly.
save property owners from that time and money of a variance for something that we're encouraging that resilience. So, okay, great. Remember to bring that up, will you? 'Cause that's a good one.
Absolutely.
Anything, Jim?
No.
Okay. If there's nothing else, would somebody make a motion, please?
To make a motion to approve variance 20250-287, 138 Hibiscus,
There's,
subject to the staff 4 conditions.
I'll second that.
okay, so, but there are 2 variances.
Oh,
There's 2 variances. So would you like to make a motion for the mechanical equipment and then for the stairs?
I can, or do you want them consolidated?
Oh, can they be consolidated?
That would be, yes.
Oh, good. Then Jim's motion stays. Okay. Is there a second for the motion?
I second.
Thank you, John. Any discussion on the motion? The motion is to approve both of the variance requests in this case. And any discussion on the motion None? Your vote, Jim?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Jane?
Hi.
Jim?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you and Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, learning moment, if we can. Crystal, would you mind coming up and sharing what you went through the last day or two about this variance request with the rest of the LPA so the audience can hear it too? I think it would be very important for people to hear this. Thank you. You'll find out.
Yes, yesterday
Chris-
afternoon.
Crystal, just say your name for the
Oh,
record.
my name is Crystal Schola.
Go.
And yesterday afternoon, I received 2 emails, one from the zoning and one from the planning department. And they each had a sum of money that I was supposed to wire into the account. And it was supposed to be done before this meeting, or else the meeting was going to be canceled for me.
Did it have my signature on it?
No, it did not.
Okay, because there was another one circulating with me telling people they had to pay money.
But it was so real. It had the
course.
FMB logo. It had the water signs, in the back. It looked very real. It had specific information, exactly how it's worded in the variance
Wow.
was also in that email. And again, there were 2 separate ones, and it totaled $8,590. And then they sent it again last night with wiring instructions. And they said it had to be done within 12 hours. They again wrote me in the morning and said, I have very little time to get this done before I would be removed from the LPA. And so I went crazy. I was trying to get the wire fulfilled.
Oh my gosh.
I really didn't know what to do because,
Oh,
because
who did
this
you
was
call?
so important with me.
Well, of
Sure,
course.
too, and I didn't want to be canceled. So of course I immediately tried all these ways to
Oh
get
my
this
God.
wire done. And thank God they didn't accept, they only wanted debit cards because I don't have one. That's the only thing that stopped this. And then I came here right away after they wouldn't take the debit at Western
Yeah,
Union.
that cleaned you out.
And I
You
came
went to
here-
Western Union.
Yeah.
To try to do the
Oh,
wire
my
share.
Lord in heaven.
And-
Okay.
And so then I came here and was told, for one, you don't ever request a wire.
Right.
And if I had even known that, but again, I didn't think too much about it because this is so important to me
Of course.
that I didn't really stop and say if this was fake or not.
That's horrible.
So, and they
That's why I thought we had that on
emailed me
record.
back and forth so many times, like when I emailed them asking, I can bring a check, I can do this, I can, why don't you just send me an invoice in the portal like you usually do? And they sent me the request saying, no, we only do wire transfers for this type because it's so close to the meeting.
Unfortunately, you're not the only one who's been subject to this. So there was another, I actually posted it on Facebook because there was someone who received a letter, all very official, and it was signed by me requesting $4,800 for the processing of their application and whatever. And I guess it's happened quite a few times now. So people should be very aware that the town never requests a wire transfer, that if you have any questions or suspicions, you should immediately call town hall. And getting canceled from the LPA, you'd have to be a very bad girl for that to happen.
Or very unlucky.
Oh,
which
I'm
is
so
about
glad
where-
you don't have a debit card. That's
Yeah.
good. Gosh.
Scams. That's the only reason I don't have it because I think of them as scams.
They
Wow.
do.
Wow.
Thank you,
Wow.
Crystal.
Wow. Thanks,
Thank you very
thanks for
much.
sharing. Thanks for bringing that forward, Jim.
Wow.
Of course.
Wow. Okay, I hope people are listening to that.
Yes, thank you for that. Actually, that was not the town.
No,
And we don't operate that way. You don't get.
We should
canceled
get that
from the
out to
agendas.
the news.
Yeah.
Because they were doing scams.
We're even getting our own invoices sent to us. So, it's not us. We're not invoicing ourselves.
okay, well, let's move on to the big show of the day, which is ordinance 2520, DCI 202-50203 for 175 Sterling Avenue, the Fort Myers Beach Women's Club. I just got chills. An ordinance of the town of Fort Myers Beach, Florida, approving with conditions or denying a rezoning to commercial plan development, CPD, for the property located at 175 Sterling Avenue. A generally identified as strap number 334624 W20004.0000, Town of Fort Myers Beach, from institutional for a redevelopment to the Fort Myers Beach Women's Club, providing for conflict of law, Scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date. John, ex parte?
None.
Jim?
None.
Jane?
None.
Jim?
None.
Don?
None.
Oh, my ex parte is years ago sitting at Truly Scrumptious with these two ladies, Mary and Dawn, talking about what the future of the women's club would be. But recently, I haven't had any discussions, so I pretty much know what they're doing. So, okay, we'll begin with you, Jason.
Yes, thank you. Jason Green, Community Development. As you mentioned, 175 Sterling Avenue, it's a request for a rezoning to commercial plan development for redevelopment of the women's club. The site includes all the necessary typical things, site plan with parking, stormwater, some landscape buffers referenced in there, and a footprint of the new building. The application includes a proposed building consists a total of 15,151 square feet of building, 6,737, this is all approximate, square feet under air, 838 square feet of deck, and 7,575 square feet of ground floor. That makes for a total of a FAR of approximately 0.25. Under the typical zoning requirements, they're allowed 0.8, so it's much lower than what the maximum permitted is. There are no deviations with this request related to the site or other items. I'm trying to make sure I point this out as we go through these CPDs. The elevations are not included. Building design was not included with your packet. They will have to go through that review process through the DO. The code allows you to do that. Other CPDs, you may see more elevations in architectural design. Those are not being approved at this time. They'll be reviewed under a different application, and that's fine. That's their choice. So based on LDC section 34-85 and 34-216, there's findings and conclusions included in your staff report. The items we address, each of those items from staff's review of this. Obviously, it was site of the former women's club, and so the redevelopment of this is in line with the previous uses and consistent with the comprehensive plan. Schedule of uses in the CPD will include membership organization, administrative offices. There's on-premise consumption of alcoholic beverages, temporary uses, commercial accessory uses, which are allowed, and for whatever reason, our code spells out ATMs. So that is a allowed use there. And so, so based on the items, the land development code sections I referenced, 34-85 and 216, staff has recommended approval with conditions. There's 3 conditions related to the site. If you want to go over any of those specifics or have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Jason. Questions for Jason? Don? Jim?
No question.
No questions.
James?
None.
John?
None.
Jim? John? Jim?
No, there's a typo. It references convenience stores in some of the verbiage in staff report.
As far as the category that allows,
It's in, there's no performance standards. There are no special location standards for convenience stores.
yeah, so
Number
what it meant is the future land use category that allows the mix. There wasn't a performance standard that you're talking about. Yes, sorry. about that.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Jim?
Holy cow.
He likes
Afternoon.
paper.
For the record, James Inc. I've been here before as an expert to present and wish to do so with the board's pleasure.
Yes, sir. You've already been
And-
qualified.
As always, I have a handout,
Of course.
if I can distribute that.
Can share.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
This is for people who want to read ahead.
Yeah. Nice to see you, Jim.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Like to right to the end.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Suggested motion.
One note before I get started is I received 4 of those spam things in the last 2 days.
You did?
Yes. And they were
Darn.
signed by various staff members,
Mhm.
Frankie, Judith, I mean, quite a few, not by the chair.
Did you alert the town?
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
Crazy. 4 of them.
Clicker.
What the heck? People have no better use of their time.
Christmas presents.
Jeez.
I'll try to
That's
keep
not a
this
good idea.
brief, but I tend to talk a lot.
We'll shut you off.
So
Mhm.
today we're here to discuss DCI 2025-0203, which is known as the Fort Myers Beach Women's Club. It is at 175 Sterling. The owner developer is the Fort Myers Beach Women's Club, which is a nonprofit organization who's been on the island since, 1950 or so. Planning and engineering is by myself through our firm, Inc. Engineering. Architecture, as almost always now on the island, Albert at Studio AD. What we're asking to do here, what this request to do here, is really simply to add a schedule of use membership organization. There was some discussion when we applied with some other staff members of whether we were a cultural facility, which would have been allowed by right or not. And there was some disagreement. And the second part of this is consumptive on use. So we would have been in the public hearing anyway. So it was just easy to package this up as a CPD, make it real clear, tone down the schedule of uses and bring the project forward. Why you should grant this, in my opinion, is the Women's Club has been on the island since the 50s. They do really, really good work. It's been at this site. They want to continue exactly what they do. So I think it's good for the town. So the request statement is a local planning agency consider for the requisition of approval to town council to rezone 175 Sterling Avenue from institutional conventional zoning to commercial plan development with conditions. What I'm going to walk through is a little introduction to the property, design, how we got here, how it complies with the comprehensive plan and land development code. I have in the packet, just the same as I have in the application, the findings, conclusions that you look at. I'll probably editorialize and shrink this presentation down quite a bit to just keep it from going too long. So here is the property on Sterling and Lazy Way. It's to the north is a mosquito control property that's there. To the south was commercial that used to be there, and it's completely surrounded by residential. Been that way for a long time. It's going to continue to stay that way. The pre-site showed the building that was built in like 47. It's a little less than 3,000 square feet, and it's in the northeast corner of the property, which is important when we get to the design. You can see the closest neighbor is a residential to the east and then a residential to the southeast. Post site, Hurricane Ian was not kind to the site and basically took the structure away. So what we've got here are the property development regulations, and interesting to note, they're exactly the same as the institutional. We didn't ask for a change of any of the setbacks, any of the buffers, FARs, any of that stuff. We just carried them forward. We did take the schedule of uses and shrink them down, and we took out things, schools, theaters, churches, those type of things that were allowed in institutional. We kind of took those out to say, we are the Women's Club. We are a nonprofit organization. Nonprofit needs to be here to be compatible with the neighborhood of community civic type operations. So that's why we just shrank that down at this point, since it was a CPD. So we took all of the known quantities and we went into the design to say, we're going to bring the women's club. We're going to bring it into the 21st century. We're still going to do the nonprofit mission. We're going to retain sensitivity to the neighbors and the surrounding area. We're going to design something that's resilient and sustainable and carries through. And the interior and exterior uses support the women's club, which is important in this day and age. We have the interior uses, offices and meeting space and some sitting space. And then we also have the need to do some outside activities, temporary uses, those type of things for events and gatherings. So we came up with a site plan, and as you can see from the site plan, the colored area is the building footprint, which is bigger. It is quite a bit bigger, but it's still of scale, and we kept it up in that northeast corner. And it's real important that we kept it residential kind of looking and feeling and buffered. And we kept an event lawn in the middle we put in there. And then we wrapped the parking lot around. The main entrance is off Sterling, just like it always was. We do have a limited back entrance for service, first responder carry through so they can get out if they have to come in. And those type of operations. The lazy way is intended to be a secondary entrance and not a primary. It has the buffers as required. We bring in stormwater management. We're bringing the site up to 2025 standards. The architecture of it is to keep it in the traditional Florida style. You can see it's elevated single story. It can be 3 stories. It can be 30 feet high, but it is just proposed to be a single story. And it's important to note, I think Jason says we didn't have any of the architectural parts of it. And we were passing that through to the DO, which is true in a way, but we do have these, and these are the buildings that, the elevations that we want in the record that what we're doing. We've had a few discussions on island with other buildings that have gone through variances and CPDs, and then when they get to DO, some architectural differences between developers and staff, and we're trying to limit that as much as possible. So this is a view from Lazy Way, which looks out in the front area, and then this is the view from Sterling. And as you can see, as it goes around to the right, on the east, it becomes more single family looking and less activity and so that as you go into the residential neighborhood, it feels very compatible to the neighborhood.
Jim, I have a question. Either the landscaping is very lush, or I'm just curious what the elevation is for it doesn't look like it's very high.
The building is the right height. It's a little bit lower when you get back there.
Okay. So do you know what the elevation is?
I think the elevation is 12
Okay.
and the ground's about 5'6".
Okay.
Not that it won't be a little bit higher. So, you want to have a little usable space underneath,
Sure.
but I think it could be the way it's drawn there.
Okay.
We went through, and this is right out of my narrative report in the application. We went through and analyzed the objectives and the policies and the things that support the project to be here. It's important that there's a couple that are required in, I think it's 34-216 for a plan development. There's a couple little extra things you have to do. And that analysis there, I think it's 4AC and CB5 that we went through, and we went through and analyzed that says we believe we are consistent with all of those policies and those requests. 4B5, sorry, it's not 4C5 Boulevard. We're consistent with the underlying future land use of the boulevard to do what we're doing at this location. We are not on a stero. We're set back from a stero, so it's a little bit less intensity that the boulevard was asking for. Commercial intensity, commercial locations. we went through and analyzed that part and says we're consistent with that, with what we're trying to do. Levels of service and conventionals, we're adding stormwater. The traffic impact statement is similar to what was there existing. It'll be in greater detail when we do the development order, and we feel very confident that we do not have a transportation impact statement problem with traffic that's generated from the little bit of extra square footage and how it's used in the project. Design standard compliance, we will have to be compliant with the commercial design standards in the land development code. We really hope that what we present and we put in the record right now is going to work. That's what we're asking for, but I guess that's a to be determined. I'm a little sensitive to that part of what we've done down the street. So the request statement again is we're asking for your recommendation of approval to town council that this is appropriate type project. It's what we need to do. It's good for the town. And then as always, there's the findings and conclusions. I walked through all of those. It's in your handout. It's in the proposal that from my expert substantial competent evidence word, I believe that everything that we've presented in the package is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the land development code. And I'm not going to walk through all of these. I may do that at council, but I'll save you from that part unless you want me to.
Oh, that's okay.
It's okay. We got it.
You're on a winning streak.
So as I always do, and I think there was a comment at the start, I always put in here what I'm asking for, and I'm asking that you find a recommended approval to town council that a finding consistency with the comprehensive plan and the land development code for this project 175 Sterling Avenue. And with that, questions?
Thank you, Jim. Questions for Mr. Inc?
Nope.
Nothing?
Nope.
Jane?
Do you have any time frame of once you get this approved, when we would see the DO and?
That would be the timeframe of start of construction is obviously dependent on fundraising to make sure they have enough money in the bank. But we're planning on going to DO shortly, start working on that. And the architectural plans have just gotten to the schematic area. You know, we've got the floor plan, we've got the elevation, but not building plan. So we got to get through that process. And then they still have some money that they need to raise that hopefully they can get shortly.
Okay.
Anything else, Jane? Jim?
No comment.
How about you, John?
No
Anything?
questions, no.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Jason?
Yeah, I'd just like to add, I think Jim makes a good point. We'd like to offer and request that you include the renderings that they have as part of the compliance, your interpretation of compliance with the land development codes. And we can go through that discussion if you want, but I think that would benefit everybody. here
Wonderful.
And if they continue to develop that even in more detail as we go forward towards the council, that would also be beneficial.
Good idea.
Incorporate those if possible.
Thank you, Jason.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll open up the public comment. Who would like to speak? Now, none of you are shy. Maybe somebody'd like to tell. Come on.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Ron Bennock, and I live at 210 Sterling. I'm that southeast resident right across the street. I'd like to say that the Women's Club has always been a great neighbor and look forward to having them as neighbors in the future. The one thing that I saw in there was for membership. There was something on it that said membership. And what I would not like to see down the road, if something were to ever happen, is to have something like Bonita Bay does, and they have their clubhouse on the beach down there on Hickory Island. So I'd like it to stay nonprofit. There was some way to say that it stays nonprofit membership or something. I don't know how to get there, but that's all I'm saying is that let's just say something down the road that the Women's Club is done and gone. And I'd hate to see something like that come into that spot.
Oh, I see what you don't want it to be a paid club.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Anyone else wish to speak? Seriously? Maybe,
guys came
maybe a
and you
little
went to school?
commentary on what a timeline could be, how successful you've been with your fundraising. Nothing?
Oh, we knew we could get her.
Merry Christmas, pal.
Dawn Thomas, past president of Women's Club. Where we're at with fundraising right now, to give you a little bit of background, last August, or a year ago August, we started our fundraising efforts, and in about 10 days we raised $750,000, and we were cruising. And then September came along, and lo and behold, we had 3 hurricanes, Debbie, Milton, and Helene stalled us out. It was a little faster of recuperation on the island for people to rebuild their homes and their businesses, but everyone has been very leery about giving until we got through this past October.
Yeah.
And while we have just had our eighth annual Christmas Tree Festival and raised $60,000. A lot of that money goes back to the nonprofits, which is based on our mission. Our Putt and Pub is January 17th. That is scheduled right now. We've got more donations than we have in the past. So we are continuing to raise money. I think right now we have a number in our head of where we need to be before we put shovels in the ground, mainly because Mary and I don't want to be the 2 people that lose the land because we don't get enough money at the end to build the building. So we are just starting to push our efforts once again, now that we are in the clear and past get through the holidays. And our other initiative really is to introduce all these new people who are coming onto the island and who are moving here to see who we are and what we're about and how we do give back and what this clubhouse is. It's not just our clubhouse. And I know Ron brought up, not to be a private club, but, we want people to know that this is a community space where people were using it for weddings or for baptisms. And it was something that everyone could use. And we really want it to be known across our community and to these new people that that's what we're about. Anything else?
Excellent.
Good.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Okay, if nobody else wants to speak, we'll close the public comment. Any further questions for the staff or the applicant? No further questions. Any discussion on this project?
I would like to thank them for mowing their yard and keeping it looking nice, because it is really sad that the big contractors on this island are not taking note and being good neighbors and keeping the property looking good. So please keep that up.
Any other discussion on this? I'm just going to tell you all, I know you all personally, but the Women's Club has become such a force and something that this community is extraordinarily proud of. And it isn't just a club of women. It's what is done with all the money that's raised and given back to the community and to different nonprofits and groups. It's really something, and you should all be really, really proud. I'm grateful you're here and grateful that you come this far.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 25-20, DCI 120250203, also known as 175 Sterling Avenue, FMB Women's Club, with the 3 conditions outlined in staff report.
Second.
Can we incorporate the renderings?
Yeah, the renderings included in the packet. Thank you. Appreciate that, Jason. As a matter of the record.
Okay.
Second.
So, we had a second with Dawn. Okay, so there is a motion and a second to approve and finding the project consistent with the comprehensive plan and including the renderings in the packet. Any further discussion on this? Jim, your vote?
Aye.
Dawn?
Aye.
Jane?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Yes. Congratulations. You're on to the next step. Bravo.
Jim, if you want these.
What a great day. I just remember when this started. Oh, golly jeepers.
Jim, if you want these to keep for the next meeting, you can come pick them up.
Jim, Jim Inc., would you like to keep your?
Save a tree.
Yes.
You want to give them to the council?
Good for you. Thank you.
Glad to hear that.
I got
too.
that in the
Okay.
record too, Jim.
Yeah.
Awfully good of you.
We'll move on to the next case, which is a special exception. This is SEZ 202-50081. This is 2812 Estero Boulevard, the Caper Beach Club. A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Fort Myers Beach, Florida, approving with conditions or denying special exception SEZ 202-50081 to allow like-for-like replacement of two existing 12-foot by 12-foot tiki huts and 4-foot high posts and rope barriers in environmentally critical zoning district seaward of the 1978 CCCL line for the real property located at 2812 Estero Boulevard, providing for Scrivener's errors, severability, and an effective date. Any ex parte on this? Don,
None.
how about you?
None.
Jim? Jane?
No.
Jim?
None.
John?
None.
And I have none. Nancy, just before we begin, this our final vote, unless there's an exception on special exceptions now as well, aren't we?
I believe so. I am checking that as we
Okay.
speak.
Well, let us know later.
I will.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Go ahead, Jason. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Again, my name is Jason Smalling with your Planning and Zoning Department. As Anita just mentioned, this is a request for a special exception for the redevelopment of two 12 by 12 tiki huts, seaward of the 1978 CCCL, and for the replacement of rope and bollards generally in the area of their tiki area and their walkway. The applicant is utilizing a special exception, which the town council has allowed for the replacement of like for like materials that existed pre-storm that were damaged and had to be removed. So the applicant has given us staff evidence that the tikis did exist. We can confirm that using the LPA aerials. And going back to at least 2004, I can also confirm the placement of the rope and bollard systems. The applicant's design is putting the tiki huts generally into the same placement. And as the special exception section calls for, they're being placed as close to the buildable area and the CCCL line as is feasible to ensure that they don't interfere with any required plantings or dunes. The applicant is here. The staff has determined that this is a generally acceptable rebuild and that we have validated that those structures did exist, so it would be allowable to be replaced under this special exception as pre-existing materials. If you have any questions or concerns, we're here for that. Otherwise, the applicant is here for your questions as well.
Thank you, Jason. Questions for Jason? Nancy?
Yes, Madam Chair. So it is ordinance 25-18, and you are correct that the special exceptions that only replace like-for-like structures that were existing prior to a natural disaster event does final agency action if the decision is made by eligible members of the LPA and there is no request received within 10 days after your decision.
Thank you very much. Okay, any other questions for Jason?
No.
Thank you. And the applicant is here.
I am.
Come on up. Were you all sworn in this morning?
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, tell us your names and what you'd like to tell us.
My name is Bonnie Delizia. I'm the property manager for Caper Beach Club.
Merry Christmas, Bonnie.
Merry Christmas. Our intention is to complete Caper as to what it was pre-Ian, and these are the last steps.
Very good.
And I'm Sue Cox. I'm the secretary of the board.
Hi, Sue. Anything you want to add to what Jason had to say?
No,
I think so.
Okay.
yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Again, just direct replacement and to maintain the, lush tropical Florida environment that we have at the property.
Well, we appreciate your efforts.
Thank
Thank you very much. All right, you can sit down. Let's see what, there's no public comment, so you're not running the risk of an upheaval here. But I will open public comment just to open it, and there is nobody here other than the applicants, so we'll close that. Any further discussion or questions for Jason or the applicant? Anyone? And seeing none, would somebody like to make a motion to approve the special exception for the Caper Beach Club?
I'll make a motion on SEZ 202-50081, 2812 Estero Boulevard, the Caper Beach Club, granting the approval, excuse me, with the conditions as attached.
Second.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Jane. Any discussion on the motion? Your vote, John?
Aye.
Jane?
Aye.
John? Wow. You.
This guy.
This guy.
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm a
Turn the
yes.
name tags around for her.
That's it. Thank you all. Congratulations. And thanks for getting it back up and running. Just another piece of the puzzle. We appreciate you.
Come up here.
Wait,
Come up here.
Come back up for a second. You brought them with you. Good.
All against.
Oh, I've seen them. I'm sure yours look exactly like the one.
But it looks exactly.
Wait, we can't hear you
Wait,
unless
you
you're
have
on
to
the-
talk into the
I'm
microphone.
sorry, it looks exactly like what you had.
Yeah.
And when I got it, I called, you have somebody who works remotely out of Canada. She's been such a big help to me.
Oh.
And I emailed her.
Wait, do we have somebody who works remotely out of Canada?
Oh, no.
Her name is Sashka.
Sashka, anybody? That's you? Oh, you're Sashka? You have an alias? Is there more to this story?
Name change.
Illegal coming
this is somebody
somewhere.
that works for you.
Yes, it's somebody who works for me.
Oh, okay, very good.
Well, she's been wonderful.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. Anyway, I emailed her and I asked about this and she said to call Kendra.
Yes.
I had already paid $3,993. So I sent that to Kendra along with what I received in the mail or on email. And she said it was a scam. Do not pay it. I received 3 more letters since then. So I brought them. I didn't know if anybody wanted them.
Well, we should have
wait,
them.
yeah,
and
let's-
it should
Town
go.
should have them.
You can give them to Jason. Now that 3,000 some odd dollars you paid,
That was in October.
okay. So that was
was
legitimate.
That was
Yeah.
legitimate.
For heaven's sakes.
Goodness.
Boy, you know, if these people would put their time to something good, that
Well,
makes me
it's-
so mad.
It makes people are so vulnerable when they're in this stage of their
Exactly.
project that they
Exactly.
just will do like what's another 10 grand to make it finally across. the finish
Exactly.
line.
Oh,
That's what
gosh,
they
I
do.
hope people are listening to this. Oh, okay.
Has the town notified the sheriff of this scam?
Yeah, thank you all for the opportunity. So this is something that I think the town just put out a public service announcement a couple days ago or last week on too. But unfortunately, we were made aware of it across a couple of different departments. I think with special events, construction permits, LPA. So it's something that we're definitely looking into trying to address. But as a reminder, I know we've all kind of said it, but never send funds through a wire transfer. The town will not request that from you. When in doubt, we highly recommend please reach out to us. We're here to help, and we want to make sure nobody obviously gets scammed with that. But Nancy, would you recommend, I guess, that they also report to the sheriff's office then, or is that?
I believe so. I do know that our town manager, he was very proactive. The first time we heard about this, he did, I believe, report it to the sheriff's department, and I think he was on the news yesterday. Also warning our residents that unfortunately this is transpiring. So get the word out.
Well, could we make a public address to the phone, the emergency number on, for the town of Fort Myers Beach? Because
That's a good idea,
people
Jane.
are, everybody has a permit issue going on. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. I'll forward that on to Will and Tracy and our team. And
And I will
That's
tell
a
you,
great
back
idea.
in the day when with real estate, I used to get cashier's checks daily in the mail saying, I want to buy this and this, that, and the other. And I took them to the police department. There's nothing they can do. So, I mean, it's got to be something that we educate because, there's no way for them to chase these down.
Well, good you didn't pay those. All right.
By the time you get to this point,
Well, exactly.
you'll do anything.
Of course you will.
Let's just get to the
Yeah,
next phase.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
Can write those
Exactly.
checks to me.
Well, congratulations on your approval and happy holidays. You're welcome. Okay, next item on the agenda is the administrative agenda. Who's going to say something about that? Anybody have anything? Okay, we'll move on to LPA.
Oh,
item-
wait, he was
Jason
kind of
started to
halfway.
stand.
Well, stand, come on.
Sit. No, stand.
No, we just want to talk about schedule at some point.
Yeah,
Whenever
let's
you
go
get to-
ahead. Let's do it.
Okay. What's your schedule? No. We're for January, because it'll be around the corner here. And I think your schedule for your normal January 13th is the second Tuesday. We potentially have a pretty busy agenda, including potentially a large project. So the question is, do we have availability? Do you want to pack that all into one day? Do you want to split those up and do back-to-back days? What is your preference as far as that goes?
Anybody have a preference?
I think we all know what you're talking about, and I'd like to see them split up
Yes,
for
sir.
both.
I think the
Comment from Anita's
non-related-
father as well as
I think
the,
the non-related agenda is getting to about 4 applications at this point. So
It's so
would
bad.
the next Tuesday, the 20th?
no, that's council. meeting.
Council?
Council due to the holiday.
So I don't have any suggestion. I know
Oh,
all
okay.
of us have busy schedules.
King Day or something.
I would prefer
Well,
to
look,
just-
we have time in front of us, but I think everybody would agree we should have
We
2
should
meetings
split
in
it.
January.
Yeah, that would be a good
Yeah.
help.
One specifically for any
Large
substantially
project,
For a large
applications with
project,
multiple
yes.
Yeah, anything that might
Yes.
come up.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so then maybe Jason, you or Amy could send out something to us where we could all say we're available this date or
Right.
that date,
Yeah,
once you know what the schedule is.
Absolutely. I will say Fridays are generally open the entire month of January.
Oh,
If that's an option, if not, that last week of January, looks like we have almost every day open. Just
I have no
Anchorage
issue with
on
a
the
Friday.
26th,
I don't
and
either.
then-
No.
Anybody?
I drink wine on Friday, but other than that.
Well, it
It's
depends.
more interesting meeting. Right.
But
On here?
I think as long as it's
No,
a key
because I
component.
gotta go.
As long as it's not the afternoon.
There you
Yeah.
are.
Let's do more.
So
morning.
maybe a Friday morning.
Friday morning would be great.
We'll coordinate with Nancy. on
Okay.
Yes, Jason, the regular agenda, how full is that? Did you
I
mention
believe
that?
right now we're looking at 4 applications. I don't think they're too complicated, but probably like today. It's the problem is the other 5
It's going to get big.
will take several hours.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, I think it's possible to do it one day. It's just,
No.
we could,
It's not fair to the applicant
It's
to
not.
have us sitting here for 4 or 5 hours and then making a decision. I mean, not that this group is not capable
Totally
of that.
agree.
However,
well, I mean, they're going
it's,
to.
it's taxing. Yeah,
Yeah.
but at least if it's, just the only thing that we have to deal with, then
I mean, the other option is obviously you can set the other more complicated one at a specific time. So you could take a break after, and then we reconvene.
it's still
There's
a
lots of
long,
ways to do
it's
it.
still a long day.
Do
It's a
Friday.
long day for us. It's a
Friday.
long day for the community.
Go with
So,
what we agreed.
yeah. Okay.
So I
Are
would,
you anticipating a full day or a half of a day?
that's up to you guys. I mean, we'll
What
accommodate.
would you like
If
to
it sounds
have
like they don't want a
scheduled?
full
The
day.
full day?
Well,
Just in case, yes. But
Okay.
starting at
Good for
9
me.
We have
block it
to
out, yeah.
coordinate with meeting rooms.
But
and-
Oh,
started-
you mean for the, okay.
for the additional meeting, starting
Yes.
at 9.
That should be a full day. Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. Anything else administratively, Mr. Green?
No, when the time's right, I kind of want to follow up on that conversation we just had about elevations and architectural. It's
Okay.
become a very prominent thing. So whenever we
Okay.
talk about that
Okay.
today, later, whenever.
All right. LPA member items and reports. Anything, John?
I would like to hear what you just alluded to.
Sure.
It's becoming more important. I think one of the things that we've been doing, especially in the areas where there are development agreements, et cetera, is trying to get the renderings, et cetera, locked in as being a commitment, at least as strongly as it can be. Is that what you're referencing, or is it?
Yes. So having on the other side of my life, we do architectural and other design and talking with architects, and we're talking locally with architects. It's challenging to have design sufficient enough at this level that you could go to design with, right? So
Right.
it's really renderings, it's concepts, but the requirements in the code right now kind of do both. But they're very prescriptive when you get into the nitty gritty of it, and they're very detailed. And 60% of glass on a primary street wall, as an example. Looking at the renderings example you saw today, you don't know if that's 60%.
Right.
But the code also allows that if you do it at this level, and the council ultimately says, we think that is consistent and that's sufficient enough for us, then we can use that as the basis when we see it at the next steps.
Mhm.
They're not always going to be 100%, The code gives us the leeway a little bit of that. If they do it during this process and you say, we think that's sufficient, that's what we want. We want you to see a general picture of it, and we want to use that as a basis.
I know.
Does it allow that if you wait?
Right.
But we also recognize that you're never going to have as detailed as the code requires now.
Right.
It's
Yeah, I think
very,
we-
very
I-
expensive.
I'll speak to her myself. I like as much transparency and clarity. I think
Sure.
everybody would, but also what has always concerned me is if we are only defining a project as by its setbacks or its box or its heights or what have you, that's always been concerning to me. And I think that's why we've always asked that those
Right.
drawings be included.
But at the
So-
same time, when they come back with actual building design plans,
It could be
we
different,
don't
but
want to say, well, you had this window there and you moved it.
No.
You can't do that, right?
no, but we also, I think, want to allow you both the guidance, because you now know what the picture looks like,
Sure.
but also the discretion to say, well, obviously, this was the idea and it's in keeping with what they proposed previously.
Right. So I'm talking about this week specifically because we've had 3 or 4 projects that this has come up on.
Yep.
And so my approach in this is I say this to you, say this to the council, say, hey, if you like this picture, let's find that to be substantially consistent with the code. You find that and we'll use that as the basis. And then I don't have to go in and measure.
Mhm.
And I'll give you another example. They showed a picture, I think it was the food truck project.
Mhm.
They showed glass. They came in and said, yeah, we can meet the percentage, but the bottom of the window has to elevate because once they did the internal design of the kitchen and the counter and all that, a counter for ADA access had to be moved over here, which then they couldn't be in front of a window, right? There's a domino effect here, which do you go back to hearing for that? And I think the code allows us not to have to do that.
Yep.
But I want us to say it in the transparency part that we're finding this substantially so we don't have to go by every single component that does follow in the code, if that makes sense.
I think that makes perfect sense and I
Well-
completely support it.
I
I
agree.
agree. And what to me is great about the project we just saw was that they could have 3 stories there and they're saying a single story. So to me, that helps me visualize the single story instead of 3 stories, and I'm much happier with that.
Right, but we want to be able to say if that porch alters a little bit, if the roof line
Yeah,
changes a little bit,
we
it's
don't
still
care about
within
that.
the general parameters
Yeah.
of what, if it all of a sudden becomes a completely different building, that's different. But
Mhm.
the code allows us to do that as long as we're transparent and do it. This part of it, if we get past this without doing that, then it gets very, very, very specific. And
Okay.
frankly, it's written as some Greek and,
Probably
Roman
inconsistencies
style.
and all
Yeah,
sorts
there's
of
some of
different-
those things that are in there. So we've been working with some of the local architects that are bringing projects through and getting their opinion on it and how can we help expedite's not the right word, but the transparency part of it.
Increase
and not-
efficiencies and
We don't want gotchas on the back end.
yeah, no needless iterations and
Yeah.
repetitions.
The challenge is also though, you've got non-architects and non-design professionals creating these images through AI and other means that are available now for technology. And then they may not look like, so it's kind of a, yeah, let's do it up front, but also make sure you got the right professionals. Maybe you have to pay a little more to get that. Let's make sure you're getting the right image so that we don't have to send you back later on. That's what our goal is. We don't want people coming back.
The,
You don't want them coming back to public hearing.
the amount of detail to me is somewhat dependent on what the request is.
Mhm.
If the request is for a development agreement, I think I would like to be satisfied that there's sufficient
Sure.
documentation, exhibits in there that we know what we're getting versus a special exception or a variance, which may be pro se, or we may even get another bite at the apple during the development stage. But, you know, these development agreements have sort of left a bad taste in the community.
Mhm.
Well, I think it's a good point, and that's why we're going to try hard to bring that up and say, if you find that this is sufficient, then you can make that statement. Because you are going to sometimes get just colored boxes, and that may not, you might not see awnings, you might not see porches, you might not see any of that stuff. And if you're okay with it, then you can say it. If you're not, and that's not enough detail, then let's say that also, right? So I think it's entirely within yours and the council's purview to make that decision on a case-by-case basis. The challenge is if you wait, we're going to change this in the code, but it has a really, I would say, an unacceptable way of getting that approval later on down the road that incorporates the town manager and council, and it doesn't work. It's just not a good way to do the process. So we're going to try to fix that. But in the meantime, that's why we're trying. I think the transparent word is probably the best to use. We're trying to be transparent with you, and if you like it and you're okay with it, then tell us that.
I think we
use that
agree.
as the basis.
And on the bigger projects, the sooner we can get information, it's easier to digest it and come in prepared.
Sure. And you may get that on some bigger projects where you have a 3-story building that doesn't show balconies and it's more just a color box and it's a 3D rendering or something. Is that sufficient for you or not at that point? I mean, it may not be in a case that some other things are kind of confusing, right? So that's going to be on a case-by-case basis, and we'll leave that up to you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jason.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
LPA items. John, anything?
No, I have nothing other than to wish you all the happiest of holidays.
Same to you. Jim?
Same, just wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Jane?
I want to bring up the bike parade is December 20th and hope everybody gets out and plays with us. And it's always fun. And the other thing is that I really am wanting the town to start helping the neighbors with the yard conditions of people. I don't know if I'll be happy to volunteer and drive around, take addresses, whatever. I mean, I can't even walk my dog down the road because he just gets stuck with burrs and thorns and stuff. And it's just disgusting, really. And I mean, I sweep my street. I take a rake down my street. I mean, I know a lot of people don't do this, but I'm tired of caring for other people's yards. And we need people to step up. It's been long enough. They can start paying for mowing. And if they do it now, they don't have to mow it for a long time. But we'd like to see it get cleaned up. The other thing is where all the people are, we have no lights. And is there a reason why we can't get lights in Times Square area and down those streets and underneath the bridge and where people are stumbling to get to their cars and things like that? It's just dangerous. Does anybody have any idea what is happening there? Can we?
I think you should bring that up
Push
to the
the
council.
council.
And they
Yeah,
probably
public
heard about
comment.
it 55 times.
I know, but let's
Yeah.
move something.
Yeah. Jim, anything?
Yes, I have one item. If it's of interest to the other members, we've spent an enormous amount of time, and appropriately so, over the last 2.5, 3 years, looking at a significant number of projects. I use those in the upper category. I think that it would be interesting, if not productive and helpful for financial planning too, if we had an update on the projects we've approved and where they are in the permitting process. I follow many of these myself and I see nothing online. I think that's unproductive, unfair, and whatever the word would say, that wasn't what they told us.
Yeah.
So if staff wouldn't mind, and the will of this group to recommend however we can do that, to will to assign whatever we can do, I'd like to see that report and like that report to be public. And I'd like to get some answers around however that can go. And I'll have more suggestions for that once we see the report and getting some details around the gaps. So I know inherently what some of them are because of the world that I live in, but I'd like to see them all together and make sure we can align those excuses.
Right. I agree.
Reaction, Madam Chair?
The two of you have my hot buttons for today.
Okay.
And that is, I drive down Estero Boulevard and I hope that staff and council members are listening to this. And I see properties that we have approved months and months and months and months and months ago in complete and total disarray.
Absolutely.
With their approvals by the town council and the town of Fort Myers Beach, their property value was increased multiple times. And the property sits, the yard, the property itself is in complete, we have a property maintenance code that is not being enforced. And I think if the town wanted to make some serious money right now, all they have to do is start enforcing the property maintenance code.
Well, the best way to
But-
deal with that is get them building.
Or get them building. But between the property maintenance and, we've talked a lot about having something here at Town Hall that shows what's coming, what's happening on the island. Estero Island Beach Club has a sign that with a picture of their proposed building that's but even though it's behind some weeds and a fence, but it shows what's going to be built. And I'm just wondering if there isn't some way that could be shown up and down the island. It would create enthusiasm. It would help the community know where we're going. It would be a sign of great
Just like
faith.
these builder houses.
Exactly. Builders
Like
of houses.
4x4,
Exactly.
however big they are, but it
The
does
Goods-
show something
Goods did it too.
positive.
Yes, and the Goods has done it too. And
Yep.
the Goods property is nicely kept, and their
Yes.
sign is very nice.
Yes.
It needs to be happening more and more and more. And what Jim said about a report, we should have a report. I mean, I think about it every day when I'm at work. Don't you remember the Pinchers guys saying we'll be open by December? And now we're hearing maybe they'll be. I mean, I can tell you
Neptune, too.
they're not open, and nor are they
If they're
going to be
open, it's all takeout and eat
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Yeah. So it would be nice, not only for us and the council, but for the public to know
That's right.
where these approvals stand.
Thank you.
I couldn't agree more. So, were you writing that down, Jason?
Yes, he was.
God
I
bless you.
saw him pull
Okay.
out his
All right.
pen.
We can,
So,
I'll
I
come
mean, I
back
can
to my
offer
list.
Somewhat of a response to that. I don't want to get your hopes up, but now that the comp plan in theory is done, those are modern GIS maps that were used to create the future land use map. As part of the land development code update, we also have to update and modernize our zoning map rather than it just be a Photoshop of a Photoshop of a Photoshop of a color map. The goal this coming year, in less than that, first half of the year, while we do that, is also to transition into a searchable, meaningful, usable GIS map that the public can use to look up zoning on properties. Ultimately, you would be able to use that as a platform or a basis to then create what you're talking about as perhaps a monthly updated list or map or some sort of
But
thing.
Jason, that's
on
down the
website.
road.
Absolutely.
People
Well,
people are driving down the boulevard
Appreciate your
every
excitement.
single day, and
All we
all
can
they
do is
see
report
is
the-
destruction.
Oh, I understand. What
And
I'm
it's not
saying
fair to
is-
the people who have put their money where their mouth is, who have cleaned up their yards, rebuilt their homes, and are struggling to move on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not fair.
I think we're talking about two different things. What I'm saying is for information to the public and anybody interested in Fort Myers Beach, we want to create an
We'll get to
opportunity where
that,
people can look up and see what's been approved.
I think
where
that's
it's at,
wonderful.
and
I
the
think that's
details of
great.
it.
But
That's
I
what
think
we
we're
can do.
talking about something
We are.
different.
I'm going to
Yeah.
do something on
The other
in
part is
January.
More, I think, code enforcement component that you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Understood.
And this isn't your fault. You're not in charge of any of
And
this.
she's not yelling
But
at you.
no, was I yelling?
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of it. I really am
I got
tired of it. I look at people who have spent their last dime
Mm-hmm.
rebuilding their home, and next door to them, it's just
Trash.
horrible. I was at Diamond Head the other day. I'm looking at Diamond Head. They cleaned their place up. They've been an extraordinary community partner. And what are they looking at? Estero Island Beach Club should at a minimum be out there cleaning up their lot. It's not common courtesy. It is not neighborly, and it's not Fort Myers Beach.
Right.
But of course, most of these people, well, I'll stop there because I am irritated about it.
Right.
Don, do you have anything?
No, well said. What everyone said. Yeah.
It-
Second,
Merry
second,
Merry Christmas, I meant.
And Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Could I,
Happy
so,
holidays.
okay, so they hit on my big ones, but let me just ask one other thing. Could we, at some point in time, rediscuss or readdress development agreements? Because I have had a conversation with several, maybe we can't, with several people,
Send a bill.
how, well, we're not granting anybody anything with a development agreement, but when we created the development agreement, it was meant for small scale projects.
Right.
Carlos Chavez's project was perfect, but maybe some other ones aren't. And I just wonder if we could readdress it. You can just think about it because it's 2/18 and it's the holidays. And the other issue I have is parking lots. And somebody brought up parking lots months ago. I don't remember who it was, but there are an enormous amount of non-permitted, at least to the best of my knowledge, temporary parking lots that didn't have to do what, for example, John Richard went through when he got his permitted on Old San Carlos. And I just wonder what the status of that is. Are we just allowing any empty space to become a lot? And if so, why aren't they coming in and following the rules that everybody else who wanted a parking lot has had to follow? Just because your house or your business or whatever was blown down doesn't give you the opportunity or the direction to just, put up a parking sign. The Neptune had up signs on
Right.
their lot for a while. And I thought,
They
what
still
the
do.
heck are they doing? I thought they were down.
They're now town signs. The town has
It would-
parking spaces there.
How can the town have parking spaces there?
They do. That was an agreement they made, I guess. So they're getting revenue off of it.
Well, you know what? The parking is an issue. I mean, it's an issue for the town as a whole, but it'd just be nice if, as everyone else is trying to pick themselves up, if we were all on the same page.
Well, I do think parking is something that we also need to consider when we are giving these reductions that we're giving, because I think the whale surprised me more than anything with the amount of extra parking spaces that have come out of that, when those properties get built, there's not going to be enough parking.
No,
And
there will never be enough parking, but yeah, yeah. Okay, that finishes my tirade. Nancy, do you have any items?
Happy holidays.
The same to you. Anything, do we know what's going to happen next month on the first meeting? You don't really, it's too early.
Some smaller projects, things to clean up.
Okay. All right.
So Jason, we did, the other Jason and I, we were conferring on your calendar. Would it be possible to have the big project on the 13th for the full day?
Is there a reason why we're not calling the big project by name?
I'm just using a general term in case one of the other big
It was
projects.
announced last month.
There's multiple big projects, so.
There's multiple big projects?
Always.
What are they?
There's a list, there's a laundry list of them. They're all under some different review at this point, but,
So we definitely know that the 13th would be available all day.
okay, I was
I
told.
mean, they've all been filed,
There's-
they're public, so.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know that which one's coming
The
forward. or not,
13th
to be
is,
honest.
we already have a meeting.
The
Right,
13th
but
is
rather than your regular meeting having that meeting dedicated to the one project.
I was told there's a conflict with a particular application for that date. Yes, that's the only thing I know.
Okay, okay.
That's
All
it.
right.
Well,
that
Their
solves
attorney
that.
can't be here for that.
Okay, so what about the 16th? Did you look at that one, Nancy?
Yes, I am the one that I have some conflicts. I could do it perhaps by Zoom, but.
Oh, no, not for
No,
that.
not for the
Okay.
large one, but for the regular meeting.
Oh,
But
okay.
We'll work it out and come back to you.
Okay. All right, super. Anything from anybody else? Merry Christmas.
Motion to
Happy
adjourn.
Hanukkah.
Second.
Second.
Thank you all.
Second, third, and fourth.
It is